Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another part of my Renovating EA series. This time we are renovating the Movers and Shakers, which is a gym that came with base game, and you can find it in Willow Creek right next to the Blue Velvet and what's that library called? The Archives or something like that? I'm not exactly sure. I haven't renovated that one yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to giving that one a renovation. And this lot I've always thought was a little bit weird, and I never really wanted to visit it in my game. It's got this kind of like traditional meets modern. It's got some modern elements, and then it's got all these crazy colors on the interior and all these lights, and I've just never really understood it, so I definitely wanted to change it quite a bit. So as a result, the exterior just changed quite a bit. Hopefully that doesn't bother you guys, but I think the changes were all for the better. I've been looking at a lot of inspiration pictures of New Orleans architecture because I'm pretty sure that's what Willow Creek is inspired by. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've heard that, and the pictures that I've been looking at online definitely scream Willow Creek to me, so hopefully that's correct. And yeah, so I did look at a lot of pictures to get inspiration for this build, and I'm very happy with the way it turned out. And I wanted it to look kind of like two separate establishments. So on the left side of the building, we have a yoga studio, and on the right side, we have an actual gym. Now, you don't have to change it between a spa and the gym to have the yoga studio work. Actually, I don't think this functions as a spa because you have to have a few more items from Spa Day. I forget exactly what they are, but you can run it as a gym. You don't have to change anything, and a yoga instructor will show up because I have the Instructor Mat here, and they will show up and run classes, and it'll announce when the classes are. It's really cool. I really like to add yoga studios anytime I do a gym build. I think they're definitely something that's really nice to have. So very happy with that, and I really like the way the exterior is coming together. Now, I was gonna add these signs right here. They came with Dine Out, but I end up going with these signs. I think it's later on in the build. I forget exactly at what point I pulled them out, but they came with City Living, and I always forget about them, but they have so many different swatches, and the one that I used on the yoga studio, I think it kind of has like this kind of mystical design. I thought it looked really cool and thought it might work for a yoga studio, but the one that I used for the gym actually has like a guy like holding up a barbell, so I thought that was absolutely perfect. And over here on the top of the yoga studio, I do this open beam structure that you'll see me creating here in a second. Now, if you feel like the gym area needs more space, you can totally use this space. But anytime I could do an open beam structure in a build, I kind of try to utilize it because I think it looks really cool and industrial, and it looks very commercial to me. So I think it looks really nice, and it's a bit weird. Now, it's probably not very realistic because the gym area actually overlooks the yoga studio, and you probably wouldn't want to have that in real life. But in The Sims, I think it looks really nice. Now, those windows that I just put on the very far left side, the single tile windows, they're at a different level than the other windows. Now, I did not realize this before I uploaded it to the gallery, so that's a change you probably want to make. Just raise them up one. And I didn't notice it till I went to go take the screenshots, so yeah, unfortunately I uploaded it to the gallery that way. I try to make those changes before I upload it, but I didn't catch that one, so you can change it if it bothers you, but it bothered me, so in the screenshots you'll notice they're all at the same level. Maybe it doesn't bother you at all, and I shouldn't mention that, but I like to mention it for those people who care or would like to make that change. But so as for the exterior, I kept it pretty simple, but I wanted to add some activities in the outside area because the original lot had zero for your Sims to do outside. It didn't even have like anywhere to like sit down, I don't think. So I do add a basketball court. Now, the basketball courts are really large when you do the full courts in game. So I did like a half full court, which I didn't think was that big of a deal because I don't think your Sims can actually really use a full court. I mean, they can play on either side, but they won't actually play like a real game. So I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I do a half court. I do mess with it quite a bit though, because I really wasn't sure if I should go with the smaller versions of the basketball. You'll see me mess with it here in a little while. And then on the other side, behind the yoga studio, I add a couple of picnic benches because I kind of wanted somewhere for your Sims to sit down if they want to have a snack or something, because I do include a vending machine and like a coffee pot on the interior. That way, if your Sims get hungry and you want to stay on this lot longer, you don't have to worry about going to a bar or a restaurant or going home. You can just stay on the lot and keep playing and not have to worry about feeding your Sims. There's food here, but they do have to buy it, so I felt like that was realistic. I did think about maybe adding one of those like food stands, but I think those pop up throughout the world now, so maybe one will pop up behind the lot somewhere. And I do end up using the fencing only on the gym part, so I end up making them a little bit more separate here right now, actually. And I think that looks really nice. And then I also include a couple of flower boxes in the back and put some bushes and trees in there just to do a little bit of foliage. I mean, I do have the ivy growing up the side of the building because I already did that on the blue velvet, so I thought I would just kind of continue that throughout this neighborhood. And I think it looks really nice. Unfortunately, I don't think that ivy changes with the seasons. The one, the ivy that came with Jungle Adventure, that changes with the seasons, which is really cool. It gets duller throughout the fall and then completely like dark and dead throughout the winter, and then it livens up again in the spring. It looks so nice and realistic. And then all of the other flower boxes that I've noticed so far, I mean, some of them might work, but I haven't noticed it yet. They just look fake and plasticky, and it drives me crazy. I feel like I should probably tweet that to a sim guru or something. I'm not sure exactly who I would tweet that to. I'm sure there's somebody I could ask that would know the right person to give that information to, but it drives me crazy because I want them to look like they're real flowers. I end up getting rid of these yellow ones that I had on the front of the building, and the ones on the side I end up changing to red later on just because I felt like the yellow didn't quite work for me. I felt like the red matched a little bit better. But here I am messing with the basketball court again, and I just left it this half court. I think this looks the best that I could have done, but of course if you want the full court, there is the other half of the back area, but I felt like the way I decorated it was I don't know, the best that I could do anyways. And I do add those lampposts out front. Now I mentioned this when I did the renovation of the blue velvet, how it, when I went to go take the screenshots, it was like really like doubled up on lampposts, and it looked a bit ridiculous to have two right next to each other because there's already ones on the street and then I have the ones in front of the building. So it was a little bit overkill, so I delete those later on because at this point I hadn't realized it on the other build because I have built this a while ago, so it's actually been on the gallery from sometimes. And I know some of you guys have downloaded it. I've got some pictures tweeted at me of you guys placing my lots here in Willow Creek, so it's really cool. I love it when people share them using my builds. Like it's so cool. But here I am adding some modern windows. So I do separate the spaces a little bit just using these. I was originally going to leave it completely open. Now it's a bit funny because I thought that it would be too noisy from the gym, but of course that wouldn't be the case. But I think it looks really nice. And then here I am adding the Instructor Mat and then the regular mats. I kept it all pretty black. I wanted it to look pretty like sleek on the interior of the gym, and then on the interior of the yoga studio rather. And then up here I was going to add some bathrooms, but there was no place to put a staircase, and I thought about having an entryway from the gym upstairs, but I didn't think it was really necessary. I have bathrooms on the other side of the lot, so I wasn't too worried about it. But these little window kind of dividers that I use on these walls to separate the entryway to the yoga studio, I thought that they were actually like sliding doors that you could like slide closed. I mean, of course it doesn't work that way because they're windows, but I thought we could pretend, and I thought it looks really nice, and yeah, pretty happy about that. And here I am just adding some decorations to the exterior. I thought these little window awnings looked really nice. And here I am adding the red flower boxes, so I feel like those just look a little bit better. And then I end up getting rid of this part that I was mentioning was going to be the bathroom, but I thought about continuing the sliding doors all the way up, but then I realized that would be a little bit silly since the doors probably wouldn't be able to slide through the beams. So I end up getting rid of those here in just a few seconds, and I think the yoga studio ends up turning out really, really nice. And it's something that I ran into a little bit of a problem. You may have noticed it at the beginning when I was first decorating the yoga studio and created the beams, but I didn't want to put wall lights on the bottom of the actual yoga area, so I ended up sizing down those disc lights and hiding them underneath the beams, and it lit up the bottom of the yoga studio really nicely. And then here I am creating the entryway of the yoga studio, and I end up switching out these countertops. These are spa day ones, but I end up switching it out for get to work ones later on. Just felt like they looked a little bit better and suited the look I was going for just a little bit more. These ones are a little bit too fancy. This place was supposed to look fancier than the gym area, but not like a really fancy place. But that's just not that important probably. But something I did add that I thought was pretty cool, I add a cash register in both sides of the building to look like an employee works there, somewhere you could, you know, pay for your classes, you could pay for the gym, you could, I don't know, talk to an employee, because I feel like it's so weird that employees don't actually come to certain lots in the game, because like the library has a librarian, but the gyms don't actually have an employee that walks around. At least it'd be nice to have like somebody in a uniform that at least cleans or something, just so you could pretend somebody works there. I guess they have the instructors, but I don't know. I feel like it's not the same. And then here I am just adding some artwork, and then I have some chairs that your Sims could sit down if they're waiting for the class to start or they're waiting for somebody to get done. I don't know why they would sit there, but they're there for decorations, and I think it looks really nice. But I tried to keep the yoga studio pretty simply decorated. I didn't want it to be too crowded because I didn't want your Sims to have any issues using the yoga mats. And now I did play test this build actually for quite a while, a few days in game actually, and everything seemed to work just fine. Even the upstairs, which is a bit crowded, it all seemed to work, and I'm very happy with the way it turned out. But here I am pulling out the different countertops. I just felt like these ones looked a little bit better. They had the black tops, which I felt like blended in with the building and the kind of accent colors I was going for, but then it had the brown as well, which tied into some of the other colors. So I just felt, I don't know, I felt like that was a good change, and I'm always happy when something like that happens, and I'm like, ooh, it just ties in so nicely. And I have a few decorations on the counters, just like some towels and flowers and some business cards, just a few little decorations. And then over in the corner, I think I get like a potted plant. I mean, I really wasn't too sure what to add in here, but I wanted it to be, yeah, not overly decorated. I ended up putting this door back here in just a little while and some chairs too. So that area pretty much stays the same as I had it decorated earlier. It just didn't look quite right to me, but these new chairs that came with seasons I thought worked perfectly in here. And then I ended up placing a painting over here that came with City Living that I thought looked really nice as well. And I felt like it just all tied in. Yeah, it just all tied in together, and I thought about adding that magazine rack, but now I added over in the gym area, which I felt like was more of an appropriate place to have the magazine rack. And later on I was thinking, before I even took, or it was after I took the screenshots actually, and after I uploaded it to the gallery, I was thinking about that debug object that is a magazine. I think it's like a fitness or yoga magazine. Should have totally added that in this build, but I didn't. But it's something you could definitely add if you wanted to, because I don't think the magazine rack is actually interactive, so I'm not exactly sure how you get that magazine in game. Is it just random decoration? I have no idea where that magazine comes from. If you know, you should definitely let me know. But just added a couple more trash cans outside, because why not? You can never have too many trash cans. But now we're on into the interior of the actual gym area. So this side, like I was mentioning, is a little bit more rustic, and then down here we have two bathrooms. Now I did male and female bathrooms. You could change the doors for regular doors if you wanted to, but I felt like it was pretty appropriate for a gym to have separate sex bathrooms. That way, if people are changing or whatever, it just felt realistic. But you can change it if you want to. And the layout of these bathrooms, man, let me tell you, took forever. I left in part of it, but I really cut out most of it because it was such a struggle. I wanted to add more showers and more bathroom stalls, but there really wasn't the space. But like I mentioned, we do have that open beam area that you could definitely add more space if you felt like these bathrooms weren't enough. But when I was playtesting this lot, I didn't really think there was a problem. It didn't seem like Sims were like waiting in line to use the showers, because there is a shower in each bathroom, and then there are 2 stalls in each bathroom. So I think it's probably plenty, but you could definitely utilize that space upstairs if you need to. And this area does change quite a bit, but it does end up being one of my favorite parts of the build. Probably this area and the entryway to the yoga studio were so much fun to take screenshots of, but it does change over time. I end up adding the coffee pot and vending machine down here. But speaking of screenshots, I thought I would mention I did use Reshade to take the screenshots of this build. I'm not using it while building it because I didn't have it installed in my game at the time, but I think the last time I had it installed was during my bright suburban home. Is that what I called it? So it's been a while. I haven't used Reshade in a while, but I recently re-downloaded it because with the latest patch update, it really messed with screenshots. You may have noticed it a little bit in my last couple of speed builds. The screenshots may have been a little bit fuzzy, but I don't know, I didn't think it was that bad. But when I went to take screenshots of this lot, they were so unbelievably blurry. It looked like I had went through each screenshot in Photoshop and blurred them over. It was so bad. So I downloaded Reshade because when you take screenshots using Reshade, you actually use a different key. You actually set up your own key for taking the screenshots. You don't use the C button like you do in game. So the screenshots look fine to me using that. So you may notice that the screenshots are a little bit brighter, a little bit different colored, but that's because of the Reshade. I actually really like Reshade. I've been using it a lot now that I downloaded it in my game. I'm not going to uninstall it to do all of my regular building. I really like using it. I always forget. I'm like, should I use it? Should I not? And then anytime I have it in my game, I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. I should probably use it all the time. I don't know why I'm so indecisive about keeping it installed or not. But the preset that I use is created by Harry here on YouTube. I'll link her video because she does like a really amazing tutorial. That's where I first learned how to install it and everything. She explains it really well, and she goes through how to change different things. It's very helpful, but I'll link that. The preset I used is created by her. I think it's called Light Brigade, and it just brightened things up a lot. I think I actually changed some of the settings just to suit my preferences a little bit more, but it's essentially her preset. And yeah, I'll link that in the description so you guys can check that out. But here I am working on the bathrooms. Now this is the layout we go with, so you can see there's a shower in each bathroom and then a toilet stall in each bathroom. So that works out pretty nicely, and these bathrooms are literally identical. They just mirror one another. Now I probably should have used the room copy tool, but I didn't think about it at the time. I literally just decorated them kind of at the same time and then kind of separately. So you'll see I get this one all sorted out, and then I go through and copy over like the sinks and stuff, but there's really not too much to them. Now in the original build, they had these lockers upstairs where the bathrooms originally were, and I had completely forgot that these items existed. I think they're base game. They may have came with Get to Work. I'm not exactly sure, but I totally, oh no, of course they didn't come with Get to Work because this was a base game lot and they were on this lot, so they're base game, and we have these lockers that, yeah, I totally forget about, and I think they're in the storage category. I might be wrong, but I think that's where they are. And yeah, so I definitely wanted to add those so it looks like your Sims could, you know, put their purse away, put their wallet and their phone and their keys and lock them up and put their gym bag in there. It's so cool. I wish we actually had more gym clutter, and that was something that was pretty disappointing to me when it came to, what was that, it was fitness stuff. Now the items that came with that they're nice, they're modern, but I really, from a fitness stuff pack, I would have really liked equipment that we didn't already have, like if we got some like weights or like bicycles or something like that. But I don't know, that pack's nice, but it's definitely not one of my favorites. But I would have liked some actual gym clutter. But I did skip over that part of me decorating the other bathroom because literally it was the same as the first one, so you'll get a better look in the screenshots, but you'll see the before and afters and all that kind of stuff. Now the before and afters of the bathrooms are actually a bit weird because I put the bathrooms downstairs and originally they were upstairs, but whatever, it's just how we're gonna have to do it. But we are on to the upstairs, and this is the actual gym area, and it's pretty small. I do end up deleting one of the punching bags when I was playtesting it because it was a bit crowded, but everything works. It all seemed to function just fine. I did playtest this build for a long time. I can't remember if I mentioned that already or not, but it all works just fine, and yeah, very happy with the way it turns out. I end up actually separating this space a little bit more and then putting some archways and a few decorations here and there. I really liked using those jerseys. I think those came with kids' room stuff, if I'm not mistaken. So there's like some jerseys up everywhere, and I end up pulling out these posters here in a second that are base game. And yeah, so there's 4 treadmills, and they all have TVs that your Sims can actually watch TV while they use the treadmill. And then I got a couple of benches up here. And I think I already pulled out that vending machine, but I ended up adding it downstairs. I'm not exactly sure if I changed that area up yet or not. I wasn't paying attention, if I'm being honest, but I got a little bit carried away. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I put that closet that came with Get Together by the back door. Now, I just had some empty space, so I thought, why not add a closet? Anytime I can add closets in community lots, I always do, because I figured, why not have somewhere to public woohoo in case, you know, the storyline takes you there or something, and we can pretend that it's actual storage for the gym owners or something like that. But there's that sign that came with City Living that has like the fist with the barbell. I thought that was so cool, and I need to remember to use those signs more often because I often forget about them. And just adding a little bit more ivy to the exterior. And then for the balconies, I think I just add like a couple of chairs, not really any too much decoration. I really wasn't sure what to add. I mean, I really don't think your Sims are going to be hanging out on the balconies of the gym, but I didn't want them to be completely empty, so there's a few items up there, and I think I do the same to the front balcony, not exactly sure. But at this point, I'm really just adding final touches to the build. I wasn't too happy with some of the decorations I had in here in the yoga studio, so I thought I'd make a few changes, but I'm very happy with the way it turns out in the end. Like I said, it was really nice taking screenshots in this area, so pretty. And yeah, pulling out some debug postcards because why not? I really like that corkboard. It's a really fun item to use. I probably use it too much, but here I just pulled out a backpack, and so I put some benches out here and a couple little clutter items. I think some of the sports equipment and like a megaphone or something. I thought those items were perfect. It looked like somebody was actually using the basketball court and left their like gym bag laying around, or like some of their equipment, so I was pretty happy about that. And I also changed the flooring on the basketball court just to switch it up a little bit, make it look like it's a different material than concrete, so it's a little bit softer or something like that. And then just going through and copying over the items to the front balcony. Like I said, I didn't really know what to add there, and I think I go through and add some curtains throughout the building, but that is pretty much it. This is basically what it looks like. So I hope you guys did enjoy this renovation, and I hope you guys are looking forward to future ones. At this point, I've already renovated the Goth's house, the Pancakes house, and the one right next to the Pancakes was at Rindell Rose, something like that. So I have a lot more to share with you guys. I'm trying to space them out a little bit so they're not just like renovations one after another. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the screenshots, and thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions that you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!